Welcome to A Real Authority. I enjoyed Mutiny. I am a major Jason Statham fan, and while this movie isn't perfect, I don't know. Jason Statham just has a way about him in this genre of Jason Statham actioners. Well, not to everyone's liking, especially given the divisive response to this one. It feels like those who are not diehard fans of this subcategory of action movies just are generally fatigued of Jason Statham movies, but for me, nah. So Statham plays Cole Reed, this bodyguard to this billionaire, who he witnesses die in an ambush and is ultimately framed for his murder. And so he tries to clear his name by going on this ship in order to discover the conspiracy that led to this, while also discovering a human trafficking operation in the process. It's a Jason Statham movie at the end of the day, so the plot really does feel like it's kind of similar to other Jason Statham movies, although I will say this is better than A Working Man. And fun fact, do you remember Plane, that action movie released 3 years ago that was a surprisingly solid watch? And do you remember when they announced Chip, which was a sequel that instead of being on a plane was supposed to be on a ship? Of course, you haven't really heard about it for a while, and unfortunately, Mutiny is kind of a reworked Plane 2, so it's not necessarily a direct sequel to Plane, but you can consider it an unofficial part of the Plane cinematic universe, so there's that. And come on, Jason Statham absolutely knows what he's doing. Even if he's not the strongest actor, he speaks with his action, so the rest of the movie really has to complement Jason Statham's skills. And I feel like with this movie, this probably has one of the strongest directions in terms of a Jason Statham movie, which I'll get to in a minute, but Statham delivers. Cole Reed isn't exactly his strongest character, it's just the Jason Statham character, which you come to expect, inventive enough names, a simple enough story that gets you invested in his character, and yeah, ultimately a fun time with the action. I do feel like Statham just has a way about him that speaks so much to me on screen in terms of the action. He's one of the best actors in action today, and I feel with Mutiny, he continues to solidify that fact. Jean-Francois Richet, the director of Plane, and of course this, I felt like his direction was very solid. It's inventive in a lot of places, which can have to do with the cinematography from Brendan Galvin, which is also solid. But both of them really heighten the suspense, the action, as well as the bit of cheesiness that comes with a Jason Statham movie 9 times out of 10. This feels more self-aware than, say, The Beekeeper. I like The Beekeeper, don't get me wrong, but I really do feel this one has a lot more self-awareness in its campiness, while also not succumbing to the issue that I felt A Working Man fell into in terms of being too depressing. The human trafficking angle isn't exactly the main focus of the movie, and ultimately providing a setup that may be better than your average Jason Statham movie. I'll give them that. Action's pretty fun. I do feel with the cinematography as well, it doesn't rely on shaky cam. Some moments can feel like shaky cam, but it never interferes with the action. That's usually the main victim of shaky cam in these kinds of movies. So it just allows the action to be thrilling and fun the entire time. Plus, at an hour and I think 38 minutes, about that, I feel like the pacing was mostly strong. Not perfect by any means, but it's a Jason Statham movie. You would expect to have the fun you want and have a movie like this not overstay its welcome. Mixed elements, the screenplay. There are a lot of moments in which the screenplay doesn't exactly leave you as invested as you want to, because I noticed some moments in which, I was still paying attention, but the movie didn't grip me as much as, well, it initially did, or as it did later on. But Lindsay Michelle and J.P. Davis's screenplay is strong by Jason Statham movie screenplay standards, in which it's not going to wow anybody or break new ground, but it gets the job done. But it does have a little bit of issues, and some of them have to do with not overabundance of characters. I guess the fact that they have a lot of characters in which they really only focus on Jason Statham, while these side characters, with the exception of Annabelle Wallace, which by the way, nice to see her in a movie again, are really just pushed to the background, not really focused on until the movie chooses to focus on them again. And when I mean the pacing was mostly strong, but sometimes I wasn't as engaged, I feel like a lot of that may have to do with the overabundance of side characters, making it so that this movie does feel all over the place at times. Which a lot of Jason Statham movies in recent years have felt that way, to be fair, so I'm not, surprised or anything. Overall, if you're still into Jason Statham actioners, as flawed as they are, Mutiny's gonna be a good time. For those who are not exactly into that sort of action movie, yeah, I can understand why you're not as into it as people like me. But for people like me, The Real Authority approves. 8 out of 10. It's no masterpiece, but it's another damn good Jason Statham actioner. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, to our notifications, comment your thoughts on the movie, and actually let me know what your favorite Jason Statham movie is. Is it Transporter 2, Expandables 2? Maybe it's Mutiny. Let me know. Alright, peace.